Alright, well, since there's no more streams for this week, I thought I might as well spoil you guys a different way through these videos. And today is the perfect opportunity to continue that, so why not? We've had a quite sizable update today, to be fair, from Dovetail Games for Train Sim Mod 6. And I'm usually quite critical when it comes to big updates, usually because when these updates have come in the past, we've been made to wait and feel a bit excited even that maybe at last, maybe the core's gonna get a good looking at and the main issues that we complain about and suffer from and have to deal with might finally be fixed. But usually what ends up happening is there'll be a bunch of very minor little fixes to all sorts of different routes, to be fair, but no one's really complained about them. Like 90% of the time they're issues that I've never heard of in my life. So I don't know how those things get picked up and sorted out, but we're left with the rest of them. So today looks a little bit more promising, and I thought, you know what, let's take a look at it together. I'll have a look at it, we'll have a little talk about it, and I'll let you know what I think about the updates this time around. So first and foremost, this update is for various, this update contains various fixes for both core and add-on content. And these include fixes for some longer standing bugs like the LNER class 801 fuse cabinet issue and the 101 LZB distance counter. Now here's a classic example of an issue I've never heard of, I've never encountered, and I spend a fair bit amount of time over on the forums, but not on the bug section, so I don't know, but usually the general discussions area is sort of the bin for everyone to rant and complain about all sorts of different things anyway. So yeah, quite interesting. The 101 LZB issue though, that I believe I have heard of, not too often, but I'm quite sure I'm aware of it coming up in conversation here and there. So they continue on to add that they also have fixes for Train Sim Mod 6 specific content, and that they'll be continuing to improve our experiences with more fixes to come. Now, honestly, I have had a quick browse, and I will say, if these more fixes to come are anything like this list, I might just start going at this with a bit more of a positive outlook. But without further ado, let's get into it. So at the core, resetting the driver camera now returns it to the default angle. I'll be very honest with you, I didn't have any issues with this ever, and I do tend to look around quite a bit, usually also by accident as well. Like my mouse cable goes sort of behind my desk before it routes back around to my PC, and sometimes I find myself just kicking it and like disrupting the view, and I just press 1 on my keyboard and it seems to fix it. I wish there was a way to do it via the controller. If there is, please do let me know, because it seems that there's not. I always have to use the keyboard to reset the view. So yeah, anyway, I've never had the issue where the view hasn't been reset, but if you have had this issue, then there you go. Announcements no longer overlap or queue incorrectly. That's something I have experienced, so that's good to see that sorted. Honestly, as announcements have been a core feature with TSW 6, I would have liked to see that implemented a little bit quicker, but nonetheless, I'm glad we've got it. Updated temporary speed restriction signage with more accurate LF1 sign visuals. That's always good. I don't know if they're going to be as good as a recent mod that was released, which I should show you right now, which adds a lot more detailed German temporary speed restriction signage. Hopefully they've met that standard at the very least. Improved axle physics stability for very small radius axles. Again, nothing that I can really say I've had experience with. Menu sorting for recently played is now correct with a new last played badge. Now, funnily enough, I moaned about this recently on a stream, whereby the recently played will only display the last played DLC, but then the rest of the list or will just be seemingly random. In my opinion, it should be, yes, the first one is your very last played, but then they should be adjusted in order of the one you played before that, and then the one you played before that, and the one you played before that, and so on and so forth. So whether this has implemented it like that or not, I'm yet to see, but I hope it has been implemented that way. Next up, fix the crash that could occur when loading save games due to a missing timetable reference. Good to see that there's something about the save game, but until we see like proper save game slots and just a better implemented save game in general, where we can confidently load up a save and know that the HUD is going to be fine, the instruction set will work as expected, and we can continue with that run as if we hadn't saved at all. So for Dresden Leipzig specific fixes, they've improved lighting at Geretsheim station, hope I've pronounced that correctly, which appeared too dark, pretty decent, adjusted passenger density and refined waiting area volumes to create more natural NPC behavior. Would have liked to see that as part of the core, in all honesty, because that needs tending to. The hydropower plant and lake are now visible again. Honestly, a lot of these I'm not going to really know, because it's been such a while since I last played through the Dresden Leipzig route. As a matter of fact, funnily enough, it was due to a very specific bug with the 294 on the Dresden route that made me just drop it completely without doing my usual like journey mode completion, where the train had literally come to a stop and fell over after about an hour. And as someone who really values their time, that just wasn't good enough for me. And I already had some frustrations from some issues on the Morristown route as well. And so I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put the game away for a while. And that's what I did. So, I mean, in general, these are, I think, relatively good and important fixes. Just that they're not really going to mean much to me as someone who hasn't spent really much time at all on the Dresden route. For the BR143, the C for penalty will no longer force a full emergency stop. I'm very happy to see that. I'm pretty sure this is not the only train with this issue. However, it's been sorted on at least one, so that's good. It was very annoying having to deal with that. It happened to me a couple of times. Again, I can't recall whether it was only this train or whether it was also another one. But it did happen to me, and I'm glad to see it sorted out. Next up, we've got something for the 442. Adjusted not in service text to nicht einsteigen. Hope I've pronounced that correctly. This is so silly. Why was it even a problem in the first place? Like, how could this mistake have been made? I'm pretty sure at no point on these trains in Germany would they ever say not in service in English. Now, for the Morristown line, we have quite a few. First of all, major increase in road traffic across many towns. I think a lot of other routes should also get this, to be completely honest. It's nice to see traffic, but it would be nice to see somewhat a realistic amount of traffic. There have been lighting fixes across stations and also areas outside of the railway. Vegetation cleanup and improved visibility around lakes and tracks. Added missing fences, added missing street lamps. So honestly, from what I'm seeing here, it just seems like these are good. All these fixes are good. It just seems like some detail and attention has been paid to this route, which, yeah, I'm always down for. I wish we could get like a bunch of these sorts of fixes and patches to everything, to be completely honest with you. I feel like the game would be so much cleaner with this sort of attention paid to it. For the core game DLC train for that route, the ALP 45 DP, speed text now displays correctly in night mode, and fix an issue exiting the driver's seat so that you no longer clip through the ceiling. This needs to be sorted out on so many more trains than just this one. I cannot believe that it's been an issue for as long as it has. It was a huge issue on the 350s, and I'm pretty certain it still is. It just blows my mind how it was sort of, I don't know, skipped over or missed. I don't know, but just the fact that it exists and it can ruin your run is just ridiculous, especially because in some scenarios you're told to get out of the seat and go and do something, and then you get out of the seat and you're just stuck in the ceiling and you can't continue. The Riviera line has had a few touches as well. Rust has been added to the appropriate tracks. That's very good to see. Snow has been removed from inside someone told me how to pronounce this on stream and I've forgotten. I think it's Lyra Depot. Correct me in the comments if I'm still wrong. Removed incorrect passenger area at Plymouth Dock 3 and fixed an issue where water textures overlap the land south of Starcross, but nothing about added water splashes, like somebody from the community has done through a mod. That should have been like the number one feature when they were thinking about adding the Riviera line to the game. Like, one of the main selling points of that entire area, in pictures and videos, is the massive splashes on, a windy, horrible day of seawater onto the rails. Shout out to you who made that mod. Amazing. For the Voyager, another deluxe loco for TSW 6, we can now climb down from the cab properly. This QA thing should have not been an issue in the first place. Very minor anyway. You can't walk out of the cab while the train is moving, and fix an issue with flickering interaction prompts. I don't know if the train is still experiencing the issue that it was on launch, where you could just brick it and it would just not move. I don't recall ever seeing a patch about it, so I do wonder if that's still an issue. For the 294, another deluxe loco, the final one for TSW 6, the Ebulus screen will now appear in the correct seat, and the middle desk camera now rotates properly. For the latest release route, Stuttgart to Heilbronn, major lighting improvements across the route. That's good to see. They've added support for the 142 information designer, motor sounds to all gated level crossings when opening and closing. They've removed the bell audio from level crossings, none found on real world mainline crossings in Stuttgart. That should have been sort of noticed or seen from the first sort of release. However, I'm very, very, very for this type of update where they can go back to content that's been released already and just check whether what's on that route or what's on that train, because it applies to train DLC as well, is actually as it should be according to reality. So I love that. Missing buffers have been added. Ancillary speed limits required for 147 scenarios have been added. Rock assets have been added. Increased drawdistance of the Heilbronn power station, so it's now visible from the line. Okay, so again, nice bunch of actual important and noticeable fixes and additions. The BR140 has had an issue with the incorrect looping audio sorted out. Love to see that. For the Frankfurt S-Bahn, they've added missing distance signals and PZB magnets along the route. Improvement to signaling. Love to see that. Signaling is something that's so easy, I feel like, especially with TSW being the way it is, to just be released in a way that it shouldn't have been and left that way. So I'm very happy to see that it has been corrected. The external whistle on the 140, the BD 140, right, R and D are quite close on the keyboard. Maybe that's meant to be BR140. I'm pretty sure that's meant to be BR140. No longer cuts out abruptly when hauling freight or in busy areas. Track types of new variants featuring updated sleepers. Adjusted platform height for smoother NPC boarding and lighting. They've adjusted audio. They fixed this issue, which has been left for a modder to fix for some time. So that's good to see. And some more signal issues sorted out as well. I'm pretty sure I've been caught out by this a few times. For Frankfurt folder, just a few. Again, more signal improvements. That's very, very great to see. Route stability has been improved, and fixed locations where players could fall through the world. Fortunately, I've never encountered that. Let me know if you have. For the Ludwigsbahn, quite a controversial route when it released, if you remember, as it came with no new trains, but quite beautiful in my opinion in terms of the scenery. Missing level crossing signal has been added at few locations. A PZB magnet has been added. Lighting has been adjusted. More PZB magnet fixes. More players falling through the environment fixes. And this issue, which appears in a lot more routes than just Ludwig spawn, I will tell you that. For the East Coast mainline, it's just that fuse cabinet issue that's been sorted out for the 801. For the Peninsula Corridor, the GP38-2 now has had fixes to the livery editor and paints for it. The DBBR612 now has correct PIS displaying on TOD4 lit routes. That's quite good to see. Wonder if that's something they could extend to other trains. Well, let's be honest. It's not a matter of if it's possible. It's if they'll do it. So, fingers crossed. For the 101, once again, the counter for the LZB has been sorted out. And for the ICE3, they fixed holes in the interior ceiling meshes across all variants. That's good to see, I guess. So, overall, massive improvement on the usual bunch of fixes that we get. And I think there was one of these for TSW 5. And I said the same thing I'm about to say now. If we could continue getting this level, this depth of fixes and additions and improvements that actually really matter to the players and addresses things that we've been vocal about, whether it be on Discord, on the streams, on the forums, whatever it may be, I will be a lot more positive about the direction that this game is heading in. And yeah, finally, maybe I can start looking optimistically at TSW6's future. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. But let me know what you think. Is this enough for you people who have also enjoyed a little rant here and there? Is this enough to start sort of changing the glass from half empty to half full, or do we still need to see a little bit more before you're convinced? Please do let me know down below. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Till the next one, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, stay safe, health is wealth, and until next time, peace out.